What is the Leapfrog Pathway? The Leapfrog Pathway was developed by researchers at the Center for Universal Education at Brookings, who were troubled by the lack of progress in education systems around the world and the finding that it may take on average about 100 years for students furthest behind to catch up to the learning levels of those best served by education today. It provides direction for how to rapidly accelerate education progress and is the product of over 100 different interviews with thought leaders and practitioners in education, and a review of the current evidence on innovation alongside an analysis of nearly 3,000 education innovations happening in over 160 countries. The pathway primarily serves as an informal assessment for education actors across the nonprofit, public, and private sectors to assess the degree to which their programs are contributing to greater educational progress. The researchers hope the pathway will foster more collaboration between governments, which tend to be less innovative, and innovators from the nonprofit and private sectors in order to move innovation from the margins of education systems into the mainstream. The researchers also hope that it'll lead to learners around the world having access to a quality 21st century education. So the Leapfrog Pathway is divided by core and support elements. The two core elements are essential. Without addressing them, leapfrogging isn't possible. Those two elements are teaching and learning and recognition of learning, which includes how learners progress through the education system and how learning is verified. The two support elements are not essential to leapfrogging, but can absolutely help given the scale of the challenge. And they're divided into people and places, and technology and data. As we look closer at the elements, each of them is split into two sections. For example, the first element is split into teaching and learning, and then divided into 3 levels which indicate the potential to leapfrog: a hop, a skip, or a leap. A hop is defined as an initial first step, and sometimes it may maintain the status quo. A skip goes a bit further to lay the groundwork for full leapfrogging. And finally, the leap redefines what an education can look like. It goes beyond gradual change and accelerates educational outcomes forward. Now, to put the pathway into context, we're going to look a little deeper into what a hop, a skip, and a leap would look like for one specific section, teaching. If we look at the spectrum, a hop in teaching would look like the typical Prussian model of education, where the teacher lectures at the front of the room and the students are expected to absorb that information for a test or an essay. A skip would look slightly different. The teacher would still be in charge, however he or she would build in interactive group activities every once in a while, maybe engage the students in discussion. An example might be an algebra teacher stopping his lecture and asking the students to solve problems in groups. A leap would be what we call playful, having a more student-centered approach to teaching where students can experiment in their learning. This might look like a government professor running a model congress and having her students work together to pass bills and represent their own interests. The teacher is creating an environment for play and discovery while taking a step back and serving in a more facilitating role rather than as a lecturer in charge of the class. If you found this video helpful, please feel free to like and share. Also check the description where we've linked several articles on leapfrogging as well as a link to the Leapfrogging Inequality book. Thank you.